The next few things I'm about to say in this video will sound crazy and kind of bad, but I promise you it's within good reason. Long story short, I think Yidhari might be the most skippable agent that we've had ever. So just for some quick context, I was talking with Lionel about what I was doing with Yidhari, running over some stuff, and just our general love for the character, right? Both of us are huge Monster Hunter fans. We both know how to play the hammer in the game. We used to play the hammer. We both like great swords. So the ideal heavy weapon, big impact, high reward, high risk, that type of play style is very familiar with us. So naturally, I feel like both him and I were easily able to gravitate towards what Yidhari's play style was going to allow. And so right now, all of this is going to be off the dome because I'm getting ready to leave for DreamHack. But let's talk about Yidhari. I don't want to go over the usual thing that I do because again, I really don't have time to do that right now. I'm leaving, but I want to focus more so on the topic at hand. A lot of you guys are going to be in a situation where it's either pull or don't pull. Most of you are going to be in the situation where you don't pull, right? And when I said most skippable, it's not because she's bad. Let's just get that out of the way, right? If I had to give you a rough estimate on where this character was going to be placed or where I would value this character is low-key tier 0.5. I say tier 0.5 because there are going to be some things here or there that probably don't let her sit in tier 0. One of those key things being where, you know, hey, in tier 0, we have all the characters that are very easy to play, very adaptable. You know, you can do this, that, and the third. And here's Yidhari, where she is adaptable, but her adaptability isn't on the same flexibility that a lot of these other characters have. Well, not even a lot, but Miyabi and Ishwin, right? And also to an extent, probably Alice now, because he's there, but whatever. Let's talk about Yidhari. Right here, I'm going to take you guys through the game for just a moment so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is my Yidhari build that I was working with. There's also another build that I was working with that has a higher crit rate and less crit damage. Less crit damage being like 138, maybe 140, give or take. The HP is around 18.5 or 19K. And then crit rate is sitting somewhere around 75 to 80%, because I assumed that I needed 80% crit rate. Why? Because her W engine gives you 20% crit rate just for playing the character correctly, right? Lowering her HP down to 50%. This is literally the press of a button is going to happen. You're going to get you 20%. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, great. 80%, boom, you're going to have your 100%. But I wasn't taking into the factor of Yunque Tells, which is going to give you another 12%. So realistically speaking, you only need, what is that, like 69, 68, 69.8% plus 12% or 32% gave me 101. All right. So this is kind of what was going on with what I had, but it is what it is, right? Yidhari is a very hungry character. She's very stat hungry. She wants all of the HP. She wants a lot of crit rate. She wants a lot of crit damage, and that HP is going to convert into sheer force, right? Her ice damage will convert into sheer force. So as far as building this character goes, this is going to be a pretty expensive character if you weren't already preparing or planning to build this character. Now we get into the factor that I talked about before, the most skippable. What does that mean? So I'm going to take you guys through the roster real quick, and we're going to kind of like look at what we have. Yidhari is an ice character and she's Rupture. So we're going to look at Rupture and we're going to look at ice. Well, I guess I can't do that because there's not here. First, let's look at ice characters in the game. All of these characters we've already had in the game, right? If you have Ellen, which a lot of players who started year one or day one, really, we have Ellen. Now, here's the thing about Ellen. Is Ellen still keeping up with the current form of content in the game, in-game? Yes, Ellen is still keeping up with content. M0 Ellen, probably not as easily, but she's still doing it. It just depends on the team that you're running. And so most Ellen players we have M2, okay? You know, M1 is like the minimum here that we might have, but realistically, most Ellen players who invested into their Ellen have M2 Ellen. So we're chilling. This isn't a really big deal for us, right? Because of that, there's no reason for an M2 or an Ellen main, right, to pull on another character that is the same element. And it's really not a different type. Rupture is basically an attack agent. They're still Rupture. They still have their own classification, but they're not Anomaly. They're not doing the things that Anomaly are doing. They're doing the things that Attack are doing, and they're doing it very well. So when you're looking at this from that perspective, Yidhari is out the window. You really don't have to pull her. Then we move on to the next character that came out, which would be Miyabi. I really shouldn't have to explain Miyabi. Miyabi is Miyabi. Even if it's not week 2 Anomaly, Miyabi takes it out, okay? A lot of people are on the whole like, oh, Miyabi's on the watch list. She's tier 0.5. Miyabi's falling off, blah, 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 blah. Ishwin better. You guys are bugging. Miyabi is still the best character in the game. Or we can talk about that later on in another video, but Miyabi is up there, okay? She's Yidhari's top 3, still top 2. It is what it is. So now that we have that going on, now that we're seeing Miyabi, if you already own Miyabi, which Miyabi I think is the most owned character out of all of Zenless Zone Zero, and she is also the most M6'd character out of all of Zenless Zone Zero. Most players already have their ice agent, and so you would be worried about, oh, I'm worried about the anomaly fall off or things being resistant to anomaly, right? We'll talk about this in a whole different video, but long story short, if you're worried about Miyabi having to deal with these countermeasures for anti-Miyabi, again, and I've stated this at least 7 different times in like 20 different videos, it's not Miyabi herself that's being countered, it is mono ice or Yuzu ice. That would be Sokaku, Yuzuha, or Sokaku and Lycon with Miyabi as the main DPS. That team specifically is what's being countered, not exactly Miyabi. So this still leaves you with plenty of options. Again, I talk about this in one of my more recent videos if you want to check that out. Try not to clutter this video with all that information, but Miyabi is literally perfect. So you don't have to worry about that. Shortly after Miyabi, we ended up getting Hugo. Well, not shortly, but you know, half a year later, we ended up getting Hugo. Hugo is an attack agent, just like Ellen. It's ice, or he's ice, and he's way easier to play and pilot than Yidhari. And so now you get into a situation where, let's say that you had Hugo. Okay, most Hugo mains have an M2 Hugo. I know I'm talking about mindscapes, and I know that not everyone is going to have mindscapes, because I know someone always takes this out of context. I'm not saying this to be like, oh yeah, everyone should pull mindscape. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just giving you guys the information that is like the facts, okay? These are the things that exist. M0 Hugo is still very strong. He can get the job done, especially with Lycon and Lighter. So now you get into the question, if I have Hugo, if I have Ellen, if I have Miyabi, what purpose is there for me to pull Yidhari? Mind you, I love this character. I really am, like, I'm into this character. I'm pulling this character, okay? If I had the means to M6 her, I absolutely would. I think this character is great. Again, I think she's like, what, tier 0.5 or something like that? This is a very strong character. She is matching the damage performance of Yidhari. Or not, my bad, not Yidhari, Ishwin. Ishwin's getting kills at M0 right now. Yidhari is also getting kills at M0 right now. They're both 65K'ing their respective bosses. We'll go a little bit more in depth somewhere later down once I get back from DreamHack about Yidhari's matchups. I do want to talk about that, and I kind of want to expose some information for you guys so that you're more aware of what's going on. But TLDR, that's the question that's presented to a lot of you. If you already have one of these 3 characters, why would you pull Yidhari? And this makes it skippable. It's easy. It's a safe option for you to say, you know what, I don't really need Yidhari, right? Boom, you're done. You're done. After that point, let's move on. Now, if you don't have ice, we look at Rupture. We just got Minato for free. Everyone currently playing the game has this character for free. Minato is a very strong character. M2 minimum, M6 especially. You're easily getting your 40, 45, 50K. I'd have to go back and check on that, but somebody just put up a 59K clear against Flame Hunter, if I'm not mistaken, which is Minato again, right? You have Lucia. And that's another thing, right? Lucia is on the banner. You have to pull Lucia. You also have to pull Yidhari. There's a lot going against Yidhari right now, and I really just feel like they put her in a bad situation for what she's got coming up. But of course, we have Big Mama here, Ishwin. Ishwin is easily, like, you talk about a neutral matchup across the board, Ishwin clears everything. There's not a single thing Ishwin resists or that is beating Ishwin. She doesn't have any poor or bad matchups at this current moment in time. They're all neutral or in her favor. Yidhari is, at this point, very similar. I say very similar because there are things that are ice resistant, but because she is the Rupture class character, their resistances don't matter enough to take away from her power. Her power in itself is very strong. The hammer, okay, she's able to just crush whatever she's got in front of her. And her means of playstyle, the way you play this particular character, right? Drain HP and then give it back, return your HP or heal yourself. That playstyle, a lot of give and take on what you're doing. She's a much more methodical type of character than I anticipated. I knew she was going to be the character that was basically like, you know, Unga Bunga anyway, right? Minato is very Unga Bunga. You do whatever you want, you just mash buttons. But I thought Yidhari would be very similar, and she's not. She does have an Unga Bunga playstyle, but it's not to the same degree that Minato's is. And in fact, a lot of what you probably have seen so far has been that you're going to use Ishwin, not Ishwin, there's too many Y's, right? you're going to use Yidhari's EX skill, right? You're going to use the hammer, you're going to charge, you're going to cancel into the parry, and then you're going to use EX skill. There's a couple different problems with just saying that. Even though the damage multiplier is insane, it's over 2,000 for that multiplier, you don't always have access to doing that. And you also have to be good at playing the character in order to successfully do that. What do I mean by that? Okay, so in order for you to get that move off, and I'll put up gameplay here so you can see what I'm doing. In order for you to get this move off, you essentially need to be able to time your defensive attacks and turn them into offense. Another character that I talk about all the time where I tell you guys this is Seth or Caesar, right? Even Ishwin to that degree, but Ishwin doesn't really care because her offense is her defense. And that's kind of Rupture's whole thing, is that their offense is their defense. Even Minato has the same thing. You use his EX skill, you tap it, it's a parry, you hold it, you still get the counter attack. In Yidhari's case, you can hold her charge and you will get attacked, you will get that parry animation or the ability to parry, but now you need to execute it. It is not as simple as, oh, I got hit, let the button go, and then I get my big dick combo or huge EX special damage. That's not what happens. You have to be aware, and if you double dodge, you lose out on it, it goes away. If you do any other action in between that dash, it goes away. If you don't dash and you go just for the skill, well, now you need more meter. There's a lot of different factors that apply to what's going on. So yes, Yidhari is a more technical character. Again, a big reason why I really do like this character. But when we're talking about what's available, what she does, who most players already have on their account, I don't think this character is going to do well in terms of pull value or sell value at all, especially with what she's surrounded by. I think Dailin and Banyu were drip fed. We have Lucia currently on the banner. We know Ishwin is more than likely going to come around. I really don't think she's coming back anytime soon, but still, right? We have all these things. Miyabi might swing around too. Hugo might swing around. We don't know. There's tons of factors, or even a new Ice DPS might swing around. A lot of things are against Yidhari right now that make this a little more difficult. And now that I've explained that, I just want to briefly talk about matchups. I talk about matchups a lot on this channel. You guys know that, or most of you guys know that, right? If you don't, a matchup is the same thing that I say all the time. That is how you perform against another boss or enemy or whatever, right? You can take this from other mediums. Usually I take it from fighting games, but if you play shooters, play Yu-Gi-Oh, Chaos Zero Nightmare, anything, right? You can have a matchup. Everything has matchups as long as there exists some type of back and forth or battle system. So if I'm looking at matchups and I go in here and I look at Wandering Hunter, right? Weak to ice and weak to fire, specialty for Rupture agents. What does this tell you? Oh, I can play Minato, or I can play Yidhari. But the cool thing about Hunter is that you actually don't have to play Rupture into Hunter. So if you do have a Miyabi, you do have a, which he's unfreezable. So what does unfreezable mean? It means that you're not going to bring Mono Ice into this fight, but you can bring Miyabi into this fight. You bring Miyabi, you bring Bernice if you have it, you bring Vivian if you have it, right? There's so many different options that you have, and that's what goes into Zenless Zone Zero team building. Again, I'll talk about that in a whole different video, but there's a lot more to these factors. It's not just pull the latest character, and I understand that is the easiest solution. I really do understand that, but looking at everybody's account at this point, right, going over things, watching people on Twitter, watching people on YouTube, on Twitch, I've been so deep in looking at what's going on in the Zenless space, because what I've been thinking about, which I told you guys earlier, the decline thing or whatever, I've been so deep into this that I've seen some stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff, and that concept of just pull the latest character, it's so gotcha brained, and Zenless is not like that. Like, obviously, again, it's the easy method, but there are other solutions that you have available to you. Once you learn these things, once you understand these things, your options for what you can or should do tremendously open up. So if something is weak to ice, is pulling Yidhari your only answer? No. If it's Rupture and it's weak to ice, is pulling Yidhari your only answer? No. You can still clear these things, no problem. And you have, look, fire. You have other weaknesses that you can use. If a new enemy comes out and it's weak to ice and it favors Rupture, does that mean they're shilling Yidhari and she's the only character that can clear this boss? No, that's not what that means at all. Then you get into something like Typhon. What's the matchup with her versus Typhon? Neutral. She bodies Typhon. I mean, most characters body Typhon, to be fair, but she bodies Typhon. So if a player were to pull Yidhari, you are in a great position. You don't have to worry about a lot. The same way that we talk about Ishwin, or at least the way I talk about Ishwin, and I say this character is very neutral, positive. There's not a single losing matchup she has. You can pretty much beat everything in the game. If you learn how to play this character on a technical level or a more advanced level, you should have no problems times ever. She's only gonna go up. The same, very similar thing to Miyabi. They would have to purposely find a way to shoot her in the ankles or cut off her ankles, right? This applies to Yidhari as well. The main difference is that Yidhari shares the ice type, whereas Ishwin is ether type. There isn't anything, or at least a major boss, that resists ether right now in the game. But because Miyabi has been suffering from some mono ice things, there are some things that will not really hurt Yidhari, but tamper with her ability to easily clear something. And I don't even think that's going to be the massive problem that players have. I think the main thing players are going to be asking themselves is, why pull this character that shares a type with something that I probably already have, shares a class with something that I probably already have, and is harder for me to play. We've seen this time and time again with a number of characters. I always mention Seth, right? Because Seth is more difficult to play, but something that a lot of players had when Miyabi was here during 1.4 was literally Harumasa. Where's my boy? I'm just gonna pull him on the screen real quick so we can all look at his glorious face, all right? This character was strong as crap in 1.4. He was a top 5 DPS when he released, but because he was a much more technical character to play, so many people slept on him and they're like, oh, this character's bad, he's not good, don't play him, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, oh my god, Harumasa shreds through the enemy, but I don't want to learn how to do that. Why do I have to break my fingers to play the character? Hey, look, everyone doesn't want to play ABC 1 2 3 mash buttons, and Zenless has characters like that for those type of players. So if you are that type of player and you want something a little more technical, I would personally recommend that you grab Yidhari if you have the means to do so. Very fun character. You do have the ability to try her out right now inside of the new threshold and the event itself for Yidhari, the story and whatnot. You can play her and test her out and get a feel for her. I don't really think that does her justice. It doesn't give you time to properly adjust to what she's capable of, and her build is a little wonky. But at the end of the day, it really does come down to what it is that you want out of the character, out of the game. All right, and real quick, so what I'm gonna do here, even though I already pretty much gave you guys a tidbit of what we're talking about, I do want to show you essentially the how to play of Yidhari. And I suck at playing and talking at the same time, so a lot of the gameplay that you probably already saw in the video is literally already pre-recorded. I already played it. But as of right now, I'm just going to take you through exactly what I do, right? So I'm going to try to talk and play at the same time, just so that you have that more explanation or more visual to what I'm talking about. So what ends up happening here is I start off with Lucia, you know, she's doing her thing, and I want to get into it as quick as possible. I know I'm coming in, I hold charge immediately, boom. You see, I got the big move, boom, I do it again, we parry, right? Because I've played this fight so many times that I kind of know what's going on. Again, here it is right here, boom, we get it, just like that, we flip it up, hold it, take that, boom, just like that, right? I need my boom, into boom, into boom. Hello, Jafufu. There we go. When the enemy is super aggressive, you're able to get a lot off, but at the same time, you need to manage your HP, which I'm getting healed right there now, so we're kind of good to go. We're gonna cancel here, and I'm gonna pop ult immediately. You don't really need to use a lot of the other chain attacks and whatnot. You're good. When they're stunned, you can get this move for free, and if you're fast enough, you can get 2 of them. But you see I have no energy, right? So what does that mean? I need to readjust and do something completely different now. We're gonna dodge that. I should have parried it, but I wasn't paying attention. We get the parry right here. He's gonna go away. Boom, fine, perfect, perfectly fine right here. We do this, we do this, we do this, we parry. I'm gonna go back into Lucia, gonna build this up, Jafufu, just like that, because I know I'm gonna get that triple parry. Hold it, we let it go. I saved my meter for Yidhari, and what I'm essentially doing is I'm talking to you guys, which I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be doing that, but I'm trying to explain a little bit more about like why things are methodical the way they are. You notice that I'm not doing this move all of the time, even though we're telling you, not we as in me, but you know, anyone that's like already played the character, or you guys are playing her through your whatchamacallit, your event. I'm not doing this all the time. Spin to win is a good move to be using. You shouldn't be using it all of the time, but when you do need to use it, what are the situations that I would be using spin to win. I'm using spin to win when I don't have meter. I'm using spin to win whenever I don't want to burn my ultimate, or the stun bar is a little too close, right here. I know I can get the energy back, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for the EX special right there. We're gonna pop this here, and I already have another stack of meter with Yidhari. We're gonna go here, we're gonna spin to win. He's almost popped, and we popped ult right there. I could have gone for the basic 5 after that, but I want to get this started as soon as possible. We use Jafufu, I go back into Yidhari. We have 40 seconds on the board with 44k. We cancel. I have 1 bar of meter that I can use. Boom, just like that. We finish off like that, and now I hold just like that, right? Let it go, and boom, you're good to go. 30 seconds on the board. Now we rush. I'm just gonna see if I can, like, with 30 seconds, I should be able to get another stun. If I play my cards right, we should be able to get another stun right here. Just like that. Made sure to get that in there, right? You saw I was able to get that in there just like that. We do this, we pop this. This is going to give us that final little bit. Boom, refreshed just like this. Don't have to worry about Jafufu. We pop my ultimate. And now I have a full stick of butter, which is meter. Cancel, do this quickly. Just like that. Slam the basic out, hold. Do another one. 3 seconds left. Another one. Boom, and we're out of there. I think I actually got a higher score than my pre-recorded score, which should not be a thing. Yeah, I think we got a higher score. Maybe not, because it doesn't say new best score. It doesn't say new best score, so maybe that wasn't my highest score, right? Then that would mean I got 56k, and I don't think I got a 56k. I'm pretty sure I got a 55k, but whatever. You guys saw how I played. You guys get a little bit more information on that. That's why I say I like this character. He makes me think while I'm playing the game, and a lot of other characters do that. I love Ishwin because she makes me think while I'm playing the game. The more optimized you get with characters like these, that's how you get those M0 kills. And I know that a lot of you guys don't really care about, like, oh, I don't care about the M0, or I don't care about the 65k and the Deadly Assault, whatever, things like that. Don't think of it that way. If I could give anybody some advice on that, it's less about thinking on the, like, hey, did I get the kill or not, right? It's less about that, and it's more about, think about how much effort or optimization goes into those 65k runs. The ability to play consistently for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on, you know, how long you're doing in Threshold or in Deadly Assault. Your ability to play consistently, you're able to readjust and recover when certain things happen. It just makes you a better player. Why is that important? Being a better player in this game, if you're going to continue to play this game, means that now you can adapt to almost anything. So when something happens, let's say, you know, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, you pulled Yidhari, you invested into Yidhari, and something happens, and they're like, hey, a Rupture Ice is getting phased out. It's weak now. It's bad. It's not going to do any good. Hey, I know how to play the game, so I don't have that issue. And you notice, right? No shade to anybody, but notice a lot of us that are very comfortable playing the game, a lot of us that are very comfortable being able to recover or build agents with different builds and readjust and reassess our characters, we don't have the same issues that other players have. And that is, at the end of the day, that is a skill check, or a skill, not even an issue, a knowledge check, if you will, right? It's something that we have. But I've taken up a lot of your time. Let's get back to the remainder of the video, or the end of the video, and see you soon. To wrap this all up with my final thoughts about this character, again, I really do like Yidhari. I'm borderline brilliant to say that I love this character. I like the playstyle. I like the design of the character. It grew on me over time, and I think her strength is one of the best. She's a very strong character when it comes to this. Does she need her W engine? I guess that would be something that I would wrap up to. Probably. I don't really think she has another option. Not that I've tested, right? There might be something else. Guys, I have not had the proper time to give this character a full-on test. You probably won't see a guide from me until I get back. The reason for that is because even though this character is simple to understand, playing the character is much more technical. And fun fact, something that I was also just recently taught, Jafufu isn't even her best partner. Her best stunner is not Jafufu. I was shocked. I was like, whoa, what do you mean? Jafufu is the Rupture stunner. But guess what? Lycan is making a return, baby. Lycan is probably her best partner to get the stuns off, and Trigger is better than Jafufa. We can talk about this all day and night. I think it's a great thing. I think a lot of information is being exposed when it comes to the game, when it comes to the character. I think that's really cool, to be completely honest. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions, what you're going to be doing, how you feel about the character, if you need it. Oh, that's another thing. If you don't have an ice agent, would I recommend you pick up Yidhari? Yes. If you have Ishwin but want more, probably. Like, it's most players that have Ishwin skipped Miyabi, and the newer players who came into the game skipped Ishwin and got Miyabi. So it's kind of up in the air, right? If you skipped Ishwin and you have Miyabi because you started after 1.4, you caught her on the rerun. Or my bad, I said that wrong. If you skipped Miyabi and you got Ishwin on her rerun, on Miyabi's rerun, you skipped her and you picked up Ishwin, would I say get Yidhari? Yes, I actually would say get Yidhari. Now, this isn't me saying don't pick up Miyabi when she rolls around, but right now Miyabi is not here. Right now, Anomaly is not in the top meta, if you will. It's not being favored as much right now in this current moment in time. I would say grab Yidhari. Everything that's weak to ice, Yidhari can box. Everything that's weak to rupture or favored for rupture, Yidhari can box. Anything that's neutral / not weak to ice, so neutral, Yidhari can box. Like anything that resists ice, Yidhari has the whole rupture thing going for her, spreads all of their defense. She doesn't care about that. She has her own sheer force multiplier to add into what she's got going on. And if you're playing her with Lycon, if you're playing her with Trigger, which you don't really need Trigger's, W engine that helps you out a lot, or if you're playing her with Jafufu, any of them really, this also adds into your resistance shredding depending on what your partner is, right? Lucia is going to help you out with that. M1 Lucy, if you have that, or her W engine. There's so many combinations that's going to help you out in the event you do that. Free to play Steam Oven. Steam Oven for the stunners is actually a really good engine for those stunners that are helping Yidhari get exactly what she wants out of the game. So a lot is going on with a casual player or a free-to-play player or a low spender player about whether or not they would pick up Yidhari. And it really does come down to what you have on your account. If you already have that ice agent, you pretty much don't need Yidhari. If you have an ice agent and you have Ishwin, you probably don't need Yidhari. I would not recommend you pull Yidhari if you already have these options available to you, because vertical investment and horizontal investment both have to be applied in this particular scenario. We know what's coming in the future. We've seen them drip feed some of these characters, and that stunner girl, Dai looks absolutely insane, absolutely incredible. If she releases with everything that we are learning about her, that might be the one. That might be the one. But that's gonna be it. I've taken up enough of your time. I gotta go. I gotta start packing because I'm a last minute packer. Don't do that, by the way. I can't say my outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Smell you later.